I'm going to talk you through the best practice for managing your mobs in AgriWebb. So what is mob setup? So mob setup in AgriWebb is the age class, birth year, and tag color of your mobs. These are mandatory fields when creating mobs. Why does mob setup matter? So when your mobs are set up well, you can always answer 3 key questions. How many animals do I have? Where are they? And what feed do they require? And just as importantly, can I trust those answers after a busy period? Periods like joining, preg scanning, drafting, weaning, or mustering naturally introduce change into your operation. Animals are split, combined, moved, and reclassified. A well-structured mob system in AgriWebb allows those changes to be recorded without losing clarity. So what is age class? Age class groups animals by their stage of life, for example, calves, weaners, or breeders. As you can see in the image below, these are our sheep age classes, and it shows you how they move between the different age classes throughout their life cycle. And these are the cattle age classes and how they move through their life cycle. Feel free to pause if you want to take a deeper look, but we also will have the Help Centre article linked in the description below if you want to check out these images. So why does age class matter? Age class influences how mobs are grouped, how they're reported on, and how feed demand is estimated. If age classes are incorrect, it can impact your reporting accuracy, valuation, and grazing decisions in AgriWebb. How is age class maintained? Auto-aging updates livestock as they move through life cycle stages. Examples include calves going to weaners, weaners going to yearlings or hoggets, or heifers moving to cows. As animals move through different life stages, your mobs update automatically. Therefore, your livestock numbers and classifications stay accurate for reporting, valuation, and accounting. What good mob structure allows? When your mob structure mirrors how your farm operates, they become a tool to maintain a clear snapshot of your operation, simplify reporting and communication within your team, and allows you to make better decisions over time. So how do you choose a mob structure? The most important thing to remember is the best mob structure for you is the one that matches your on-farm management. So how do you check your current mob structure? Let's step back and review how your mobs are already managed on farm. First question, how are your animals grouped day to day? Do mobs generally stay separated by tag color or birth year? Are animals combined into larger mixed age mobs? And when moving stock, are you thinking in birth years or the whole mob? Question 2, what level of detail do you use to make decisions? Do you compare performance between different birth year groups? Are decisions made at a whole mob level? Or do you need visibility by birth year, or is total mob performance enough? And question 3 is how well does your current structure hold up in AgriWebb? Do your livestock numbers stay consistent through the year? Are drafting or movements, is it easy to keep track of your mob breakdowns? And do your reports reflect what you expect to see on farm? What you're looking for? The mob structure that works best is the one that matches how animals are grouped, matches how decisions are made, and holds up through those busy periods in AgriWebb. The first mob structure we're going to talk about is mixed age mobs. So mixed age mobs are animals from multiple birth years or tag color groups that are managed together in operational mobs. They're common when animals are run together day to day, decisions are made at a mob level, and simplicity is a priority. What mixed age mobs enables is there's fewer mobs to manage in AgriWebb. It's simpler to draft and split those animals and merge them back together and move them. It creates easier ongoing maintenance because you're not always changing tag colors or names, etc. And it makes whole mob decision making and reporting easier. So as you can see in this photo down the bottom, I'm running my ewes as mixed tag merino ewes. So I don't know how many of each birth year is in this mob, but I just know that I have merino ewes. The other option is tag colour mobs. So this is where animals remain grouped by birth year or tag colour. This is common when animals are managed separately by birth year on farm. Performance is compared between groups, and detailed tracking and reporting is important from an accounting perspective. What this enables is visibility between groups, more detailed performance tracking, and clearer birth year-based reporting. So as you can see here, instead of having a mixed age mob, my ewes are broken down into their tag colours. So I have yellow tag merino ewes, red tag hoggets, white tag ewes, and blue tag ewes. These are what I like to call mini mobs. So they're all in the same paddock and they're all running as the same mob in real life together, but in AgriWebb they're broken down into their tag colours. A practical way to decide which mob structure works for you is if animals are run together, a mixed age structure will align more closely, versus if you know exactly how many animals you have each birth year, a tag colour structure will align more closely. But this must be known at all times of the year for every activity. So even if you box a mob together, but then split them off for pregnancy, you need to know exactly how many pink tag, yellow tag, white tag, etc. animals are actually within that new mob. That's where the complexity can come. If you feel like what your AgriWebb is set up right now as isn't what you want it to be, we are going to go through how you can adjust your mob structure. So when to update your mobs. The easiest time to make these changes is when you already have clear numbers on farm, such as at weaning, after preg scanning, at shearing, or maybe during a reconciliation or stock take. These are your natural reset points when mobs are already being handled and counted. Updating to mixed age. So if I switch over to my AgriWebb app, I'm on the web app, find this much easier to do at a computer. If I have a look in this paddock here, my mobs are currently split into their tag colour years, but I'm finding that this is just too hard to handle because I don't actually know how many of each tag colour are in each paddock each time I move them, split them, bring them through the yards, etc. So what I want to do is I want to combine these three mobs into a mixed age mob. So what I want to do is obviously go to the paddock, select the mobs I want to combine, and first step is I want to hit create mob record and I want to replace their tag. So what I'm doing is I'm replacing their coloured tag into a mixed tag colour. That's the first step. So what I need is I need their age class, their tag colour, their breed, and their birth year all to be the same. That way I can merge them into one mob. So all I needed to do for these ewes was just change their tag colour. In the description, we'll also link the in-depth Help Centre article on how to get your mobs set up for merging. Once I'm happy with that, I just keep the same three mobs selected, and what I want to do is go into create mob record again and merge them. So my blue tag merino ewes are the target mob. This doesn't matter too much in this scenario what my target mob is, because I'm going to change the name of the mob as well, and they're just going to become mixed aged. So I'm just going to double check this information looks fine to me, and then I'm going to save it. Now I have my mixed age blue tag merino ewes at 50 head. Now what I want to do, just to remove the confusion, is I'm going to click on the mob and hit edit details and update mob details, because I want to change the name. I don't want them to be blue tag, I want them to be mixed tag merino ewes. I also want to make sure that the date of birth is set to do not track, because I don't know the breakdowns of the date of birth of the animals in this mob itself, especially like at the year level. I don't know what I'm running together. So I can save that, And now my mobs are much simpler. And I can still have a mix. Like I can still run my lambs and my hoggets as their tag color until they get to a more mature stock, and then do that same process where I change their tags and box them together as mixed aged ewes. And now when I look in the paddock, I just have my mixed tag and then my other two young animals tags in there, making it a lot easier to move them, draft them, split them, etc. And that matches what I have on farm. Now, if I want to update it the other way and go from mixed age to a tag color, what I want to do is I want to take note of what paddock they're in and then go back into the mob again. I want to select that mob that I want to split out and go create mob record, and instead do a draft and split. But this is not a normal draft and split in the sense that I'm not moving them to a new paddock. I want to select the same paddock that they're already in so I can split them out and change their details. So for each split you want to do, you just hit add paddock and then add in that same paddock. So I want to split it 3 ways because I have 3 tag colors running together in this mob. You might only have 2, so you would just split it 2, etc. So I have 50 head. I know that I had 10 head of one color, 20 head of the other color, and then I'll have 20 head of another color. So once I'm happy with this, save it. And now I have my 3 little mini mobs within that same paddock. So now what I want to start doing is for each mob, I want to keep it selected, go create mob record, and I want to again replace tag. And then what I want to do is put in the color of the tag that she is. So I have some blue tags. And we want to do this one by one because we're choosing a different tag color, most likely, for each little mob. So we can't do it in bulk. I'm just going to go in and change this one because my hoggets are my red tag, so ignore that one. Perfect. Now that I've changed the tag colors, the next thing I want to do is change the name. So I go click on the mob, edit details, update mob details, and these were my blue tag merino ewes. And what I can do is also change the date of birth to the year so I can see what birth year they actually are as well. This can be more helpful for your cattle mobs, especially if your colour isn't aligning to the birth year that they're born. So it just gives you that extra bit of information. So I just want to go and do that for each mob so that it doesn't say mixed tag anymore. Going to go back in and fix this orange tag ones because I put in the wrong birth year. Perfect. Now if I look at my paddock just quickly, I can see I now actually have the tag colors of the animals on the outside. And then if I look in here, I can see my mini mobs of all my different tag colors of the ewes. So if I want to split this, if I split this mob in real life and they go to a new paddock, I need to know exactly within reason how many of each blue, orange and green tag animals I have when I split them. So if I go draft and split, say they're going, to a new paddock, I need to know how many blue tag, green tag, don't mind that, should be orange tag, blue tag, orange tag and green tag merino ewes I have that are going into that new paddock. If I was running this as mixed staged, I would just have one mob to split out and I could just say, yep, I know I sent 50 to that new paddock, for example. So that's the difference in the setup. So we generally recommend choosing one or the other, but maybe at certain times you want to do either. This is how you can sort of either migrate them permanently or switch back and forth between the two if that is what your requirements are. Obviously, that can become a bit of an admin burden, especially if you're trying to do that during a busy time like preg scanning or birthing, for example. So again, the very best mob setup that will work for you in AgriWebb is the one that matches how you're running your animals on farm. So if you keep that in mind and make sure you're set up that way, you'll have a lot of success in being able to answer those questions that we had at the start of the presentation. So just looking a little bit beyond those basic bits of mob setup, we also have the concept of enterprises and management groups. So the mob structure we've been talking about reflects how animals are physically grouped and managed day to day. Enterprises and management groups build on this by helping you organize livestock based on how they contribute to your business. So used together, they allow you to move from what animals do I have to how is each part of my business performing. So enterprises, understanding different parts of your business. So enterprises group livestock based on their purpose within your operation. So common examples include breeding, trading, wool, or agistment. Most farms are running more than one of these at the same time, even if they're not formally separated, but we recommend popping them in the AgriWebb so you can start to understand how each enterprise is performing. So with that, why enterprises matter. So enterprises allow you to separate parts of the business that behave differently. For example, a breeding herd is focused on fertility and survival. A trading mob is focused on weight gain and turnover. If these are grouped together, it becomes difficult to understand what is driving performance. So when separated, you can track performance within each enterprise, compare results over time in our reports, and understand where improvements are coming from. This makes reporting more meaningful, not just more detailed. Then we have management groups. So these reflect how animals are actually managed. Management groups sit within mobs, allow you to group animals based on how they're being managed at a point in time. So examples might include pregnant and empty, twins and singles, or sale mobs like we have in this example here. So these go beyond your age classes and allow you to break your mobs down or group them for reporting purposes and management purposes in a way that is more like how they're being managed currently on farm. Now, if we touch on automation in AgriWebb, so alongside that auto aging, AgriWebb will also automatically update your animal units. So your auto animal units like your DSE, LSU, etc., estimate feed demand based on livestock age class or weight. So this supports understanding stocking rate, managing grazing pressure, and planning feed requirements across paddocks. So what that means is as your animals automatically move through that age class life cycle, their animal units will update alongside that. That's if you're calculating it by age class. You also have the option to calculate it by weight. So actually putting in accurate weight records improves the reliability of these estimates if you're using the by weight option. So every time you put in a weight record, the DSE, LSU, etc. will be updated and either increased or decreased to match how much your animals weigh and therefore how much feed they're consuming. So by automating these animal unit records, it means your grazing decisions stay aligned with real feed demand, supporting better pasture utilisation and grazing pressure management. Bringing it all together. So each part of your setup plays a different role. Your mob structure reflects how animals are grouped, your enterprises and management groups reflect how they're managed and measured, and your automation keeps everything aligned over time. When these are working together, livestock numbers stay accurate, reports reflect how your farm operates, and your data becomes something you can rely on to make decisions. The final takeaway. A good mob structure doesn't add extra work. It removes the need to fix things later. When your mobs reflect how your farm actually runs, your numbers stay accurate, your records stay useful, and your data becomes something you can rely on. We hope this helps in setting up your mobs correctly in AgriWebb, or maybe you've been on AgriWebb for a while and are looking to readjust. We hope this helps. Make sure you check out the description for some extra tips and our support contact if you need any help doing this. Happy farming!